I have an incredible panel, and I'm going to ask them to each introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about your business, what your volume is, where you're from, and everything that these lovely people need to know. So Kyle, we'll start with you.
Can everyone hear me? Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Sterling. I am from the DMV. I live in Washington, D.C. I've been in real estate now for 6 years. Last year, we did 41 units for $19 million at an average price point of $460,000. And so that is a little bit about myself.
Kyle's leaving one thing off. Was it today? Was it today you found out? Okay, so Kyle was just named to the 30 under 30 for KW. So when I say they're rock stars, they are rock stars. Linda, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Linda Caruso, and I'm in the Clearwater, Tampa, St. Pete area in Florida. So I've been in the business with Keller Williams for 22 years. And I have an amazing team, and we sold 108 units last year for $51 million and 1.3 million GCI.
Wow.
I am Charlotte Savoy. I am in Maryland.
Yep, too close.
I'm going to take this one. Ooh, it's louder. So I'm a real estate agent like you guys. I've been in the business 25 years. I have a small and mighty team of 5. It's me, 1 admin, 2 part-time agents, and 2 full-time agents. Last year we did 167 units for $85 million. Average sales price is $478. I'm also a KW Maps coach, and I'm a Market Center owner and the co-founder of Business Maps and the Millionaire Business Network.
Amazing. If we were to turn off the other mics, we won't get the feedback, and we could just pass it around. Might be a better solution. So Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Rosen. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in real estate for almost 11 years. I am a solo agent with 1 admin, and last year sold 39 homes, a little over 21 million, and average price point is $550,000.
Awesome. Well, let's start with why did you choose to do events? So, Kyle, I loved your answer. We did practice a little bit in conversation as to see what they were, and I wanted to find out what their specialties were. And so, Kyle, tell them a little bit about how you decided to get into events and what that looks like for you.
So when I got into real estate, I was 24 years old. And so at that time, I had just bought a house. I wanted my friends to buy houses, and all my friends were at happy hour. And I said, what would make somebody leave work and want to talk about real estate or anything educational? And so I said, I got to meet them where they were. And so I started doing home buyer happy hours. But I was like, home buyer happy hours sound boring. And so then I changed the name. I called it the Get Your Funds Up Kickback. And it was a kickback about how can you build generational wealth through real estate. And so I went to Costco, I got some wine, we got some cookies, we got some cheese, I had a DJ. I made it a whole thing in an apartment, like a lobby of a luxury apartment. And I had about somewhere between 85 and 100 people show up to my first event. And we converted about 10% of those individuals within like the next 3 months. And so it became a thing, and it was so exciting. It was like this incubator of all these young millennials, young professionals who were genuinely interested in house hacking and buying their first home and the grant programs and everything like that. And so that was really my segue into, this is going to be my way to entice people to want to learn about home buying was through events.
Awesome. We're going to dig a lot into exactly how you do it too. So that was awesome. Linda, tell us why you got into it.
Well, I got into real estate in general because I just loved helping people, and relationship builder. And because of my personality, a high I figured it would be easy just to network through events because I enjoy parties and planning. So I live in a community, I still live there, where we had a lot of children. And the average age groups for the adults were in their 30s. So my first year as a solo agent, I decided to have an event, and I went to the bus stop about 7 a.m. when the kids were being picked up, and all the parents were there. It was the first day of school. So we had about 50 parents with all the kids, and I set up a coffee table with some donuts and some packaged cookies for the kids so that they wouldn't eat them prior to school. And that was a big hit, and I actually got my first listing that way. So it was all about having fun and what do I do that would be easy for me.
Makes sense. Charlotte, how did you get started with events?
So I've been in the business for 25 years. The first 10 years that I was in the business, I had little kids. And one of the ways that I networked was by going to Pampered Chef parties and candle parties and all of that. If I was notorious for, if you invited me, I was going to come and I was going to spend at least $100. So I got invited to all the parties. But then as my kids started to get older, I started having the parties at my house. And then when my kids left, we just started hosting that type of event and party as a means to keep it going. I am what I would call an introverted extrovert. I don't know if anybody can relate. And something like that is a comfortable way for me to talk to people. Because they're coming for something that they know is going to be fun. I can talk to them, oh, hey, the bathroom's here, and this is here, and that's there. Have fun. And they still got to see me, but I don't have to get totally out of my comfort zone. And it created a lot of predictability in my business. So that's why I started.
Awesome. Kelly, tell us about events.
Okay, so I started doing events because I wanted to stay in touch with my database or my sphere, my past clients in a meaningful way. I found through the process, I really liked my clients, most of them, almost all of them. And so the closing day was kind of a bittersweet day because we would all often look at each other and be like, well, what are we gonna talk about now? I like you, I wanna hang out with you. So I was searching for ways to connect with those past clients in a way that was meaningful to all of us.
Awesome. How many of you guys want to connect with your friends and your family in a meaningful way? Right? If you heard yesterday, Tony Robbins talked about let's love our people, right? So this is that's exactly what you're saying. You wanted to do that in a meaningful way. So I love that. Let's go back, Kelly. This is a funny thing because when I told you we practiced, and when we first practiced, Kelly said, I think I might be on the wrong panel. I don't post events, right? And so she started telling me about what she did, and I was like, no, that's an event. And it was a really cool idea. So will you just tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, so I was looking for a way to be in touch, like I said, in a meaningful way, and was talking to another agent one day, and she's like, oh, you need to read the book Perk Your Sphere. So write that down if you haven't heard of that book. Oh, okay, well, you want to get her book.
Yeah.
So I will say I kind of dumbed down, because it's a very hierarchical kind of thing, which I didn't really do, but the general principle behind it is every month, so all my past clients go into an MVP program. They're part of my family. Welcome to my family. I have a Facebook closed group that all of my past clients go into, and I do monthly giveaways. I'm not asking them for anything. It's just, hey, it's a way to keep in touch. And people, most people have never won anything in their life. So it really is exciting for people to have an opportunity to win something every month.
And who do you include in that?
I include just my past clients.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Hey Shannon, I'm sorry. These guys are buried back there. Could you bring them out?
We cannot, actually, we can't. This is fixed. So we know, we're sorry. They were actually more buried back there, but thank you, I'm sorry. We're doing the best we can. Audio is mounted, so yeah, so no pressure, having the author of the book you reference in the audience.
That's pretty cool.
Amazing, great job. We didn't even know she was gonna be here, so that wasn't a plant or a plug. Well, we're gonna have a lot of questions for you and maybe some autographs at the end, so. Great answer. Charlotte, will you tell us a little bit about what your events look like and what you do?
So I was talking to some ladies who were asking me not the typical events like Pi Day and that kind of thing. We do that. We do Pi Day and that kind of thing. But in the QR code, I've put a list of some of the events that we have, and we do have a model for those. But we've done drive-in movies, baseball games, bowling with the Easter Bunny, food trucks with the Easter Bunny, photos with Santa, snowballs and school supplies, teacher tote giveaways, so things that can pour back into the community. We also launched a charity 7 years ago where we feed 226 kids every weekend with the sales from our real estate business, and we make that an event. We do it every month. We buy the food, pack the food, deliver the food, and we, make sure that we highlight that on social media and that kind of thing. So I have a full list that's on that QR code, and we'll put that in the folder for you.
Yeah, if you weren't here early, we're going to talk about the QR codes in a minute. So we'll talk about the QR codes. We have some information that's coming to you at the very end. So nobody let me forget, because that's not a slide, so I could forget, so don't let me forget. Linda, tell us about what events you offer.
So we do events big. We had 6 major events last year, and they were, we repeated this one, a Valentine event that is virtual. And we did a shredding event that's coming up for us in another month, an ice cream social event, a hurricane preparedness event being in Florida, and a holiday photo fest event, and a pies and pints event at a brewery. And then we had 12 what we will call micro-targeted events to different things like our farm areas, to military groups, to schools. But we're very focused on it, and we repeat it every year.
So do you target your events to specific groups depending on the event?
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll have everyone in the database, and of course that's part of the success of it is calling the database weeks before, and some of them will be our top 100. Some of them will be to anyone and everyone, and we put it out on Facebook. Any way we can get people to come in, and we have people just show up from our signs.
Awesome.
And then we have more micro ones where it's catered to, as I said, the community that we're farming.
Awesome. So Kyla, you told us a little bit about happy hours. Tell us exactly how you plan them, how often they are, what does that look like?
So before COVID, I would do a quarterly home buyer happy hour. And I would get a good amount of attendance every time. Folks look forward to it. And then COVID happened, and I said, this is tricky. And so I said, we're gonna do stay-at-home buyer happy hours. And so we would send little trinkets and gifts, whether it be glasses or whatever, prior to the happy hour if you RSVP. And so now you still felt a level of camaraderie while you were virtual. And then I would do games like the first person who can run to your circuit breaker panel gets a wine bottle. And so now running with their laptop through their house. And so I still wanted it to be engaging and not stiff and boring. So it still was an event, but you were at home. And so now we do the in-person happy hours. We do the virtual home buyer happy hours. We do in March, my birthday's in March, so we do a community service to your realtor. And so then all my clients come out and help me do a community service project.
Hold on a second. Let's talk about what that looks like, because this is a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
Community service to your realtor. So they're working for you.
Now they're working for me. So that's like the compromise. Like, how do we give back? And so we do a community service. We've done feeding. We've done painting, a different community service. We've done just different giveaways. Like in COVID, it was pick your favorite foundations. And then I did a raffle, and I donated to 3 or 4 foundations that made the most sense, aka my mom picked them. And so just try to be creative in ways to keep my clients engaged and feel because I've always wanted my business to feel like a community. We're in this together. I want my clients to feel like this is something we're all a part of. And so how do I keep that level of engagement up? Now I'm supporting their community service organizations. I'm supporting their churches. So it allows for that community to maintain. So then we do the annual client appreciation event, which I invite all my past clients and current clients and their friends and family. And then we may do one-off events, I've done a Halloween event before. So it all depends, but the systematic events are the quarterly happy hours and then my annual holiday party and my client appreciation event.
That's great. That's great. If you, because y'all aren't getting to see his animation here. He's like, I mean, when you talk, like it's like you can feel it. You feel your energy, and I know that you're blind. If you want to stand, like then they can hear you. No pressure, no pressure. But
Absolutely.
if you guys want to, because I know I know that you're buried for them. So if you guys feel like you want to get more comfortable, let's do it. Let's get comfortable. I like it. So, yeah, no pressure though. But I could tell you were kind of getting like wanting to get going. So, Kyle, how do you measure the success of an event?
Okay. So, how do I measure a success of an event? I mean, of course, we all are looking for how many leads can we generate. Typically, all of my events are sponsored. I don't try to come out of pocket for anything for my events. And so success for me is not only being able to convert leads, but I want my sponsors to feel like their money went to good use as well. And so I'm thinking about, okay, this individual lender sponsor was a $5,000 sponsor. So how many leads do I have to generate for that? This title company was an X amount sponsor. How many leads do I have to generate for that? And so I don't want it to be solely about my own conversion, which I do, because I want to make sure it's worth it for me, but it's bigger than that for me. And so it all depends. Like homebuyer happy hours are a little bit more intimate. And so if as long as I get one or two, only spend $500, that's fine. But like my bigger client appreciation events that may go into the thousands, I want to make sure that not only was I serviced, so I had X amount of leads to pay for that event, I also want each one of my sponsors to feel like whatever money they donated, they retrieved it back through the business.
That's great. Keep going down that one. Linda, how do you measure success for your events?
I have to say, one thing to measure success is when the clients ask you, when's your next event?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then they're posting on social media how great the event was and just having a good time with us.
How many of y'all want your clients to reach out to you so that they can see you more? Like, that's a great measure for success, yeah.
But we also keep score. We're going in with a goal, and how many people can we touch? How many referrals are we all reaching to get? How many clients are we going to bring in and talk to? So we're looking at how many conversations did we have? And this is a review afterwards. How many referrals did we get? How many people did we have show up? Is it more than last year? How successful were we with reaching out to our database? How many appointments did we get? So they're just important numbers to have.
And you told me that you guys were you're super heavy in numbers, tracking and competitive with it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's always the, what is it, SWOT?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you're tracking your success.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we do that after every event to see what can we do better next year and why was it so successful and how can we duplicate it.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the acronym?
SWOT. So it's a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's used in a lot of business data. So after an event, you go through and
That's right.
say, hey, how did this work? What was the strength? What was the weakness,
Exactly.
opportunity, threat? Yeah. Great. Charlotte.
We do the same thing. We use a tracker, and all of our events we've been tracking for many, many years, and we're able to see how much money we spent or how much we collected, how many people. We set a goal ahead of time. I would encourage you when you're planning an event to set your goal ahead of time. The event is not the goal. The goal would be whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So for us, we typically do a number of RSVPs, number of people that show up, number of referrals generated, number of reviews that we collected, and number of photos and videos that we have to use for social media. And when we're preparing for an event, we plan 6 weeks in advance. And that 6 weeks, every week in our meeting, we're talking about how many people have responded or fit into all of those, and then we'll do an analysis afterwards.
That's great. Kelly, how about you? How are you measuring your success?
Okay, so in addition to the MVP thing I do, I mean, people respond to that, right? But I also do some typical kind of events. So I measure success if people just show up. And sometimes even if they don't show up, it's okay because it was a touch to your database. So by doing events, even if they're small, you know, like I've got one of my past clients opened a coffee shop. And so every Friday, the first Friday of every month, I host a coffee event, and anyone that comes in is coffee's on me. And that's like, you know, sometimes it's $25, you know, but people expect that event every month. And so for me, it's just having people show up because I'm not really, I should be a little more methodical like these people, but I just really want to connect with my past clients.
Kelly, how long have you been in the business?
11 years.
You're doing an amazing job. Like, yeah, you're doing an amazing job. Tell me what your follow-up system is like, because I love the way that you do it and that you've simplified it. And so, you know, like, I think when we were doing practice, you were comparing to them, but you were crushing your results just with these online monthly events. So, I mean, tell us about your follow-up with that.
So with the monthly event, the follow-up is really, so I do the drawing live, I post it on my social media account, and then I give it a couple of days because I really want people to watch the video. And then I'll reach out to whoever won and just said, hey, if they haven't reached out to me yet, and let them know they won, and then it's a pop-by.
Yeah.
Right? For my other smaller events that I do, my follow-up is we always do a thank you note. We try to take pictures too, and I'll use Postable where you can put a picture up, and I've seen those things on people's refrigerators.
Yeah.
So that's how I do the
But
follow-up.
it's personal.
Very personal.
Super personal. Super, what you said, super meaningful.
Meaningful.
Because that's what you're measuring, is how meaningful it is. So, yeah, it's awesome. That's great. So tell me a little bit about your follow-ups, Charlotte. What does your follow-up system look like after an event?
After an event. So I think before the event, there's a lot of follow-up involved with that too. So you want to make sure to pay attention to that. I think after the follow-up, what's really important is it's not just the people that attend, it's the people that don't attend. So if we have, you know, our events range from 20 people coming to 350 people coming. We use it as an opportunity after the event. If they came, we will send them a text or a video text, or if hopefully we have a picture of them, we'll text that to them. It was so great to see you. Thanks for coming by. Especially for me, being, again, I can do the extroverted thing, but it's like a lot of work for me. So the text message is an easy way for me to say, like, I know you were there and I'm really glad you came, even if they didn't get to connect with me for like 25 minutes. So we'll send a text to them if they did come. If they didn't come, but they RSVP'd yes, we'll send them another text to say, I'm so sorry I missed you. You missed out on a great time. I'm sure something came up. I can't wait to see you at our next event, which will be XYZ. Can you please save the date? That is probably the most impactful touch you can do as a follow-up, because the people that say they're coming and don't come think you don't notice, and you do notice. So if you can tell them that you noticed, it solidifies the relationship that you have with them. And the next time, they're probably going to be a little more honest in their RSVP and really want to come so that they don't let you down. So, and then we follow up on social media, obviously, with all kinds of things to market it and show what a great time everybody missed.
Awesome. Linda, what's your follow-up system look like? Now we lost which ones are turned on.
Well, Charlotte hit it pretty much on the head. We do everything that she had mentioned. Follow-up is important. I would say social media-wise, we post our little videos, pictures, and the winners of different drawings that we had. And I will say it's fun when they reach out to you and say, so sorry we missed you and what's coming next. So that's important for us too, to call and say thank you for showing, or sorry we missed you, this is what's coming next. So I think we're all in line with the same steps for the follow-up.
So Kyle told us that he tries to get all of his events paid for through vendors. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you budget for events and what that looks like.
Sure. So we're within about a 5% MREA budget number, and what we do is we go out to our vendors, and we love to support them, and in turn, they love supporting us as well. So we have a bracket system, so they can choose how they want to support us, and for example, gold, silver, and so forth. And our gold sponsorships get to speak at the event for so many minutes. They all get tables to promote themselves, but we don't pay a lot for our events because we're sponsored so heavily, and they do well too. They're getting business, and we also try to support the community by reaching out, and if there's a new restaurant or a new place of business, trying to support them and inviting them into our circles.
So I have a feeling they probably want to hear this, because you mentioned brackets. Can you tell us a little bit about what the brackets look like and give us some background in that?
Sure. So gold, silver, bronze, we make it easy. And we have a playbook for every event that we have, so we don't have to put a lot of time into it every year. The vendors have an option of, we have one gold sponsor, and for example, we had our AC company sponsor it, and during our hurricane preparedness event, we gave away a generator, and he talked about how to get ready for the storm and how to disconnect your panels and so forth, and your gas lines. So he had about 10 minutes to talk, and then he was able to go around and hand out information. If you were in the silver group and you did not speak, but you were able to hand out some goodies and so forth. But it's quite simple. It's just a matter of the more you want to contribute, the more we're going to let you be seen.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Charlotte, how do you do your budgeting?
We do the same thing for all of our events. We budget $10 to $20 per person, and that is not for us to spend. That is for us to collect from our favorite vendor partners in the front row. So that's our actual budget, is $10 to $20 per person, and that will include the food and the music and the giveaways and whatever. But really, you should not be paying for them. Your event. You can if you want to, but your events really should be paid for by your vendors and your partners and your sponsors. We also do a tiered system. One of the best events that I think, if you're an agent in this room and you're a single agent, you're not a big team like this, and this all seems a little daunting, because some of these events that we do are $5,000, $10,000. Some of them are not, but I think what the best event that we do, that if I was just starting out, I would be doing housewarming parties for each of your buyer closings, and I would have the lender contribute and the title company contribute. They pay for everything. You control the invitations. So you say to your buyer, I'd love to do a housewarming party for you. You can invite 25 to 50 of your friends. I'm sending out the invitation, collect their information for each of their guests. You do the evite or the invite, whatever that is. Lender and title can pay for whatever. We do brunch parties and dessert parties, only because we learned the hard way that like chicken wings and stuff are expensive. But mimosas and muffins and things like that are not. So if you're really looking for something that's effective, getting to meet 40 or 50 people and be in a house with somebody who is sharing their new home and is saying, this is my realtor, I love her, you have to talk to her, is the most effective thing you can do. But from a budget perspective, get your vendors to pay for whatever you're doing, but that's just a little tip for you guys.
Love it. Kelly, how do you figure out your budget?
Well, what I love about the monthly giveaways is it's an easy place to start because you can determine how much you're going to spend. I mean, it can be, on my monthly giveaways, it's $100 to $300. That's it, a month. So as a solo agent, even if you're sort of just getting going and you've had a handful of closings, it's a reasonable amount of money for you to spend. So I don't have any of my vendors paying for that MVP. It comes out of my pocket, but it's a great way to start to connect with your sphere because it doesn't cost much.
Right. So you mentioned being a solo agent. Do you have any leverage at all, or do you do it all?
I have a full-time admin.
Okay. Charlotte, tell us a little bit about what your team looks like.
So there's 5 people on my team. I have one director of operations. She's in the front row. She does, she's very quiet, but she is in the front row. So I have a director of operations, 2 part-time agents, and 2 full-time agents. And she does all of it. The thing is that if you find a model to follow, you're just executing the model. I was talking to somebody earlier who said that she loves doing these events, but she's exhausted by them. If you're exhausted by them, you need leverage. Because you need leverage and or a system or model. You need a checklist to follow that says these are the things that need to be done. And listen, your vendor sponsors can also help you with some of that leverage. They can help with the text messages and the marketing and the, they don't want to just give you money. They want to be part of it. And you can, if you don't have leverage, use them to leverage it.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Linda, tell us about what your organization looks like.
I first want to say that Kelly has, you have it together where you don't have to spend a lot.
Yeah.
So we have an event in March, and it's a St. Patty's event, something very simple, and we get our items from the dollar store, we get gold coins, and we call it the Pot of Gold event, and we spread out over 100 coins throughout the neighborhood. It's 2 hours, and it costs us under $100. We get prizes for the kids, so every kid walks away with a little something. Mm-hmm. But what it's doing is bringing out a group within the neighborhood of young children. And I, being older, I'm not connected to all those people right now as I was when I was younger. So the simplicity is we hide the coins. Every child that comes gets a little plastic kettle, and they have to find a coin. They come back and they get to pick a prize. It's that simple. So I have a team of 15, and I have 7 agents that work with me, and the rest are admin or leadership. I'm the team leader.
Kyle, how about you?
So I'm in that phase. One day it's 3 of us, one day it's me. We're trying to figure it out. I had a ops manager, became a full-time agent. And then I hired a virtual assistant. Then I said, I can do 2 full-time agents. And I said, nope, I can do 1. And so I'm like in the evolving phase where I'm growing my business, but I'm like taking a step forward, taking a step back. But I do agree. I feel like because we've been doing it for so long, we have the systems in place for the events to be like very seamless. I think one cool thing that we try to do, because we are very like social, happy hour based, I try to find venues that are new or like minority owned, women owned, whatever. And then like if they're like a new venue trying to become like get people in the door, they give me a discount. And so like I don't need the big fancy event, the venue, because I'm bringing the guests. As long as they have the staff there and things of that sort, that will allow my event to go well. Because I was telling you about, I really do like quality events. Mm-hmm. But as long as you can provide the quality, I don't need the name brand. And so that also helps cut costs, because you're like going to them and saying, hey, I plan on bringing 150 people. They may get, sometimes at the open bar or whatever, but my clients are the type after the open bar, they're still ready to go and keep going. And so the business makes a good amount of money. So they also like have discounted my venue like 40% or 50%. And so that's another way if you want to cut costs. Try to find venues that are new to the area, because now you're bringing exposure to another venue and you're able to cut costs that way as well.
So we have this list of questions that we're supposed to stay on, but I'm going to go off of them if you guys are okay. Because they're like a little nervous now. But you've all mentioned your systems and your models. And so if you're doing these repeatable events, I think it is overwhelming for people a lot of times. And so tell me how that works so that it's not exhausting. What does your system look like when you're planning an event?
So I need a little bit more than 6 weeks. I'm more of like a 3-month planner, because now that would give me anxiety, 6-week turnaround. But I'm a 3-month planner. But however, by 6 weeks out, I'm at a point of you're getting your first save the date. And then you're going to get an invitation. Then you're going to get a phone call. You may get 2 phone calls, because it's so much easier to talk to people when you're talking about something other than real estate. And so now I'm just calling you about a party, we're shooting a breeze, but then I'm gonna remind you that I'm the realtor. And so I try to do 4 touch points before. I've already typed out my thank you for coming invitation before the event. So within 24 hours, it's automatically sent out, and the Google is already planned on the calendar. Then I'm going to do, is this the type of question?
Yeah, no, I like it. Keep telling us. Keep telling us. Like, I want to hear like what you do, and is it in writing?
Correct.
So you have a system, like you're handing it off to
so
somebody.
it's all, like, so anybody can have it at this point.
Yeah.
Anybody can have that same structure of this is how I want the communication around the event to go. Right. Within 24 hours, you will receive a thank you for coming event. I'm a feedback type of person. So within that first week, I'm going to call every attendee to ask for thank you for coming, but do you have any feedback to make the event better? Because now they feel like they're helping me plan it. And then the last thing I do is I try to take a picture with every single person in the room. And then it goes back to the idea of now you can send a picture. You probably won't get a picture just yourself, but you're gonna get one with me in it. And then you're gonna post it on social media. And now I'm in the picture. You tagged me in it because I'm in the picture. And I get so many social media followings after events because of that one thing. And so that's like the secret sauce for me to like generate leads is every single person. So I'm typically standing by the door at all my events to ensure when you first come in, let's take a picture. And I take a picture with every single person who comes to the event, and I send them that picture.
I love that. Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do photographer and I have videographer. I have both. But my videographer is the same person who does like my house photography, like the listing photos. So there's a discount right there too. Use the same group of people. And that's how I have both, so that helps.
When you send a picture via text or whatever, are you asking them specifically to repost and tag you?
Give me
No.
1 minute. Will you just, because I know those people back there can't hear the questions up here, so will
Okay.
you just repeat that question?
So the question was, do I ask them to post it on social media? When I send them the picture, is there ads behind it? And there's not. So typically, the picture, I go through and make sure it's a quality picture of them. And so they want to just show themselves off, and I just happen to be in the picture as well. So it's more organic than me ask. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So many of you probably don't do any of the things we're saying, or you're just starting out. Keep this one thing in mind. It's really not the event. It's the touching of the database. That's the most important thing. So we have a joke on the team that, gosh, if nobody shows, what would we do? Because I know, being a high I, that's what I'm always thinking. No one's gonna come. They always come. They love the free stuff. They love meeting up with us and having a good time. However, it is about the touch. And a lot of us have that heavy lift of the phone. We don't want to reach out. We don't want to touch. But this is a purpose. We're giving something. And it's always easier to make a phone call when you're giving something. So we have in advance 1 year all of our events laid out.
1 year?
1 year in advance. And we know what we're going to do because we've been documenting it all these years, and that's what we call the playbook. And I sit up here laughing with him because I know my team is sitting in front of me and they do all the work. So leverage is important, and repetitiveness is everything. So even though we have it in the playbook and we're always adding to it, we're improving because of the SWOT, and we're also looking at what worked for us, what didn't work for us, and should we add something differently. But it's easy enough to just go back to the playbook and repeat it. So we're making our phone calls. We send out postcards depending on the event. We are always making the calls, the follow-up before and after, and we put it out on social media heavily. So we're just utilizing our means the same way every year.
Let me go back to that and say you have a team of 15, right? So you didn't start like you said. How did you begin documenting it? How did you begin creating your system? Did you write it out? Did somebody else write it out? Did you record yourself speaking it out? How did you get to having a playbook for everything?
So I was a Kyle, and I started 10 feet forward, 5 feet back, and just started adding to the team. But we have a client care coordinator, and she's the one that documents everything. And we have a marketing specialist who works very closely with her, and they plan it out. What I love what they do is we try to make it community centric. So they're going out to clients, or to if a client owns a business, or for example, we had a holiday photo fest. And we went to a different city. Every year we're doing something someplace different, supporting a different type of client or a different type of venue. So they go out, they scout out the event, and they decide where it's going to be, what are we going to do, and they take over. I show up.
That's awesome. Awesome. Charlotte, tell us about your system. What does that look like?
So we also plan a year in advance, and now that we've done enough of these events, we track them, and we have literally data from all of the years. It's really important after your event to make notes about the things that you wish you would have done, thought you should have done, and go back. Even if you just leave the notes in that playbook or that checklist that you have to go back next year, you won't remember, and then the same thing's going to happen again. So we do plan them a year in advance. I think we try to improve something on every event every single time. So we always add at least one thing. So we do this huge fall festival thing. And I mean, at this point now we have like a petting zoo and like there's so much there because we've been doing it so long, and every year we try to add something. And it's really gotten to a point now where clients are saying to us like, oh, what are they adding this year? And but I think whether you have a team or you don't have a team, really you just need to start. You just need to make a list. Okay, I want to have this event in 3 months. What do I need to do? Well, you're going to need to do some social media posting. You're just going to need to build a model. And by the way, you can go into Command and you can search the word playbook, and models will come up that show you this. So take one that already exists. Not to mention in this QR code that we have for you, I at least have 5 models in there that you're welcome to just make a copy of and as a good starting point for what you, and don't be afraid to make it you. Like our events are traditionally fun, casual, always have things for kids to do, always have a professional photographer. And what we do is the professional photographer is the one who, as they're taking the pictures, says, you can look for this picture on the Savoy team's Facebook page tomorrow. We'll have it uploaded there. So by the way, I'm not feeling weird that like I put everybody up and tagged them because they are having that conversation. We had an event a couple months ago where 350 people were there. Only one person didn't want their picture there, and that's fine. We honored that. But that's a really great way when you start tagging people and you're intentional about that. It shows up on all of their feeds. So go on to Command and find some of these models that exist or download the ones that we've shared with you and just start. Make a list. And a checklist is completely fine. Who, what, where, when, what's my goal? That's kind of all you need. And then if it's your first one. And do something small. You don't need to have pony rides and stuff. Like that's, if you don't want to spend $10,000, don't. You can do a first time homebuyer seminar. You can do a housewarming party. You can do a candle party at your house. There's a lot of things that you can do to just get started and then scale from there.
Okay, so let me say this. We're going to have question and answer, so I want you to take the next couple minutes and be thinking as I'm closing them out, be thinking of questions that you have, because I think we're going to have a ton, so I'm going to leave tons of room for that. But I want to ask you each to share, if you could give them one thing today that you would say to them would change their world and their business through events, what would it be? And while you're thinking about that, I'm going to go back to a couple of topics, and then I'm going to come to you to close it out for questions. I've got some things that I have to share. So we have to talk about the TCPA disclaimer. It's part of every single panel. So you guys know you're supposed to be using the do not call list and doing all of that, and then I have to mention that to you in a data disclaimer as well. So before we get to that, we mentioned a couple of things. We have a QR code. We're going to talk to you about what's in the QR code. Please don't get up and go run to the QR code right now, because I want to hear what they have to say, and I want to give you time for questions. Also, at the end, I'm going to show you a slide that's really, really important to all of us. So I told you, when I first came to Family Reunion, I wanted to be here. And this year I get to be here. And they all want opportunity. And so being here and getting great evals gives them more opportunity. And it is really important because we track not only how we did in the evals, but the number of evals. And these are really hard to get. Like, I'm not kidding you. Really hard to get. We can teach in huge rooms and everybody's in a hurry, so I'm going to really beg you, take the time to give the eval today. It would mean the world to all of us, and they've given a ton back to you. So when I get to that slide, don't run out and on to the next panel. And so before I go into the QR code, I want to ask you, what is the one thing that you would recommend? And Kelly, we'll start with you.
The one thing I would recommend is don't think too hard about this. Just pick something and do it. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. It doesn't have to take 6 months to plan. Just pick something and do it.
Awesome.
The one thing I would tell you is I would go to Staples and buy a 12-month paper calendar and open it to each month, and at the top, write a theme. Doesn't have to be an event, a theme. Like, okay, what do I want to do this month? It's what's happening this month. Well, it's Mother's Day and it's this and it's that. Great. What am I going to do? Am I going to do a pop-by? Am I going to do an event? Am I going to do a giveaway? Am I going to do a bunch of stuff on social media? And if you would do just that and have a theme that you're thinking about, things will fall into place, and you will literally, not like being weird, but you will manifest like these things showing up where you're like, oh, I could post about that. Or, oh, the dollar store has gold coins. Let me buy those for my St. Patrick's Day theme this month. But if you would map it out for a year, it will make it so much easier to set a budget and a plan for 3 months from now, 6 months from now. If you want to do, we did, this year we did a Photos with Santa event, which we had never done before, always wanted to, but never did. If you want to do a Photos with Santa event, you have to start in like June. Santa is totally booked by August. So if you don't have that, I'm not even kidding, I learned the hard way. We had to pay a lot for Santa this year. But we've got him booked for this year, so we're good. So, but if you had that calendar, you literally could start pre-planning, oh, I probably need to start looking for Santas, or oh, I need to call the pumpkin patch to figure out who's gonna give me the best prices. People aren't giving you great prices on 100 pumpkins the week of Halloween. So, but if you call in June and you're like, I need 100 pumpkins, what's your best price? You can be a little bit more effective with your budgeting and your money if you pre-plan. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's good advice. I bet all the Santas are going to be booked next week. Linda.
Just do it. Don't get overwhelmed with the thought. And I'm going to say that we all have friends and family that want to see us succeed. Engage your friends, engage your family. They will be there for you, and have fun with it. What do you enjoy doing? Focus on that first, and they'll come.
What you got, Kyle?
So mine is, the event is not the event. We're not event planners. We are realtors. And so the RSVPs, the touch points, the conversations leading up to the event is the actual event. And so, like Linda said, as long as you put a couple of seats, I'm a seat filler person, so my mom, my cousin, a few friends are going to come to the event. So the event's going to have people there because I've already filled the seats with people who don't have my back. But the conversations prior to the events, the leads that I'm generating just from simply inviting somebody, those pictures afterwards, that's really what I care about. And so if you hone in on how many times can I touch somebody around this specific topic, it's a topic, and how much success I can derive from that, then the event can be very, it could be, like you said, it could be simple, it could be $200, because really the value is in the conversations before and after.
100%, 100%. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about the QR codes that we put up around the room. There's a lot of you, there's a few of them. We did try to put some up. And then I want to go to questions. And I'm going to ask, during questions, please don't rush the QR codes either. But maybe you could go up slowly. So when we talk about the QR codes, we really wanted to provide you value. We can sit up here and tell you what we do, but we wanted to provide more than the room before. We wanted to provide you, it's very important to me when I teach a class in your market center that you leave with something, that you leave saying, okay, this is different, this is unique. And so they have all been gracious enough to say, I'll give my tips, I'll give my systems, I'll put them in a Google Drive. So when you ask questions, I want you to say, do you have this? We would love to have it in the Google Drive. We'll still add things to it, and we will still update after here, but they have put several systems in there that are incredible, and you can download them with the QR codes. So as we wrap up, but I want to give you a chance to ask them questions because they are pretty incredible at what they're doing. So I happen to know you, Adam. What you got?
Facebook, email, X, doing directions on all the RFPs, trying to figure out who RFPs are Facebook, and we also
I'll repeat it, don't worry.
trying to sort out what the best way to
Yeah, here. So I think what Adam is saying is, how do we track all the RSVPs? If we're going to be doing a Facebook event, Eventbrite, all of these, Evite, whatever you're doing, is that what you're asking? Yeah. Okay, so how are you tracking your RSVPs? What have you found to be the most successful way?
We use Eventbrite or Evite along with Facebook events, and we export them into a tracker, and we use that tracker to follow up with people. We just make them red if they're a no, green if they're a yes, and then we have columns for the date that we followed up last. I mean, just anything you can do to track them is, but we let the technology generally do it for us.
But you're doing it in each app, which is what I think or are you reposting from an app to somewhere else? Are you creating an event in Facebook? Are you creating?
We do create multiple events, yes, and we just download all of them by CSV and upload them into a single sheet that we're tracking. And I say we, but I mean Amy.
Amy's a superstar.
Find yourself an Amy. And by the way, before I answer any more questions, Shannon is not telling you this, but Shannon is an extraordinary instructor. On your chairs, there is a business card. Please put that inside your zipper thing on your badge and give that to your team leader. She will come to your market center and teach some really amazing courses. And I would love it if you guys could pass that along to your team leaders.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I would love to come and see you guys at home too. So that is true. Thank you. That's very sweet. Linda, do you do anything different as far as tracking?
Do we, Jenny?
Well, we're going to put the admins up there next.
That's right. She should be up here.
Jenny, what do you do differently? Same?
But some of our events are community-wide, so we don't actually track that. We leave them open. So like Linda had said earlier, we'll get people who see our sign down the street, and they walk in, they get free ice cream, but we sure have had them sign in with their name, their address, their email, their phone number, and then we are assigning them to an agent on our team, and they're following up.
Interesting.
And you know what else? That helps us keep our database up to date as well.
Yeah. We do a lot of Google Forms as well. So when they register for an event, they have to fill out like 12 questions. And on the form we'll have, are you interested in buying, selling, or investing? Or do you know someone who is? And then we have our agents, whoever is assigned to them in command, follow up with those people.
Awesome.
Can you put that in the Google Drive?
Sure.
Yeah, send it to me and we'll load it up. We'll load it up. Yes. What you got, Lauren? Hello.
So I know some of you do like private client events, but it sounds like some other events are open to the public. And then do you differentiate things for your clients that come?
So what type of things?
I don't know. So like it's just an event open to the public, but your clients come as well. Is there anything like, is it a different experience that the clients get, or it's just the same for everybody?
So typically my events that are open to the public, I let my clients know. But those, like for me, those are for my Halloween trick or treat, you know? And so for that one, there's still a level of marketing, but the marketing is almost like open house signs in the neighborhood. Like, hey, it's the day of Halloween, it's earlier in the day, if you want some type of coffee or mimosa, and then if you want the kids want candy or cupcakes, this is a thing. And so that's more of a community marketing versus, and then I put it on social media and everything like my other events, but it just doesn't require an RSVP. But there's still a level of brand awareness and marketing that will happen. It's instead of open house signs, it's my Halloween signs throughout the neighborhood.
So you're literally putting signs throughout the neighborhood. That's really cool. Wow, where to go first? I'm gonna go to this side of the room. I'll come back. I see you, but I got a whole lot of hands over here, which is awesome.
I just had a question. You had mentioned about the bracket system for the gold, silver, bronze things for having your vendors pay for events and stuff like that. Do you provide that list to every single vendor? I know one of you had mentioned you try and do something every 6 weeks, for example. Do you go to every single vendor and say, hey, like we're having another event, do you want to do this? Or do you choose like, okay, I'm going to work with these vendors and ask them on this event and these vendors so you don't feel like you're bothering the same? I just feel bad sometimes, even though I have relationships with these vendors and stuff, I feel bad. So I did a client event one time and I paid for all of that myself. It was really expensive. And I was like, not doing that again.
So I'm with you. You do feel a little uncomfortable, right? Asking repeatedly, but they want to help you. They want to be a part of your success. because they know that they'll shine as well. But we do rotate out, and because we're planning a year in advance, we have our vendors set up that early on too. So, but we do space them out some because we don't want to take advantage of that as well.
We do the same thing. We have a tracker where we list out all of our vendors, and then we just put the events and which ones we're asking. And we're really transparent too. Like, I think when I first got into the business, I felt like I needed like one lender, one title, one home inspector. Today, I feel very confident in saying I have 2 title companies and 2 lenders and 2 of everything or 3 of everything, because I also don't want them to get so comfortable that they're just going to get my business because they support our events. I want them to be really excited that they're getting that event and really come correct. Like, bring your stuff, bring your swag, bring, you know, if they're doing too many events, it may just become like, oh, I'm not going to come to that one, but I'll just, like, you can just set out my business cards or something. So yeah, you can rotate them out.
Can I say something really quick around the sponsorship thing? I don't really feel that much guilt because at the end of the day, they're getting business, and your goal is to try to make sure whatever you sponsor, I'm going to get that back to you in business. Like, that's my mindset. And so when you're tracking, you met this person at this event, this is what this sales price was. And so then you can even shoot an email out saying, hey, from the last event, we made together as a business several closings. And so now we have another event coming up. So now they're seeing the success and the investment in it. And so as long as you can like show the success of it, it's pretty simple because like I always tag the people in Command. Like, I don't even have something fancy. It's Command, I tagged you went to this event, and then use this lender, and then we just send an email. Since that last event, we had 6 people close. And so like it's really easy. Now I can't track how much they made from it, but they know the number of units that they gained from it. And so when you do that, they're actually enthused to sponsor because they want the spotlight more so than it's a burden on them.
That's awesome. What I heard is instead of thinking of it as an obligation, think of it as an opportunity. You're giving them the opportunity to make more business. The tons of hands back here. I know there's tons everywhere, but I want to make sure I get somewhere from everywhere in the room. So you guys, when I see you.
While she's running, that QR code is up on the screen. Help Shannon, please.
So we're working on actually doing events as a market center. And so for the Great Pie event, we do that as a market center because you have a new agent that comes in, maybe they only have 2 guests, it kind of feels awkward. But if you have 300 pies and you have 10 agents there, we're doing that. Other than the pie event, are there any events that you guys have done that's more like a market center type of an event that you could recommend that we add to our list so that we can do something once a quarter or every other month or something?
Yeah, so I own a market center, and this is something we started doing a couple of years ago. So we do 4 events. One of them is a pie. The other one is a holiday event with Santa and Frosty or whatever. And it's crafts for the kids and things like that. That's another good one. We've also done a spring fling, a duplicate of my team event with the food trucks and the Easter bunny and an Easter egg hunt, live music, that kind of thing. Really any event that you do with the team, with a real estate team, you could do with a market center. You just need to be a little bit more proactive in the tracking and the registration. You're gonna need to have enough people set up to take the registration and say, okay, which agent are you here with? And then we use color-coded name tags with the logo of that team so that it's clear, and then they reimburse the market center or whatever. But any event you do for a team, you could do for a market center.
You guys have so much interest here. I see everybody going like this. I promise I'm going to get to everybody. We have 15 more minutes of questions, so we are good to go. So don't worry. It does bring me to one thing, and thank you for mentioning this. If you are looking for that event playbook, your team leaders all have it. Have them give it for you. Like, we have the playbook. So all your team leaders can get that online. So if you want a playbook, if you want a class on events, we can bring that to your market center as well. I'm going to slide this down, and then I'm going to come back around there.
How do y'all stay present with, if you have 40 or 50 people come to your event, it's difficult for me to actually talk with 40 or 50 people because people are waiting and they have to wait in line. So do you have it to where you're, I don't know, how do you organize that?
So I also do a fall pumpkin event in my backyard, and This year, because that was my problem, I'm like, gosh, all these people come and I get stuck talking to someone for not, I like talking to them, but it was hard for me to make my rounds. So this year, I decided, some of these people are hiring a professional photographer. I just had my iPhone, and I always set up a little booth where we can take pictures. So this year I decided I'm the one with the camera. So everybody that came in, I said, hey, come over here, get your picture, let me take your picture with your family. And so it gave me a couple of minutes to talk to every single person that came in. So that was something I learned and implemented just this year.
When you're in a team environment and you have a large event, our admin staff came up with a great idea of having name tags for everyone, and they're color-coded. So if I have an agent, Whitney, and her clients may have the green tags, so that when we go up to talk to them, we know, oh, you work with Whitney, thank you so much. So that helps us keep everyone organized, and we can make it a point of stopping by and recognizing our agents as well.
I also do at most of our events that are the big events, we do a giveaway every 11 minutes, and I'm the one with the buzzer in my pocket, so that if I'm talking to somebody, it like obnoxiously goes off, and I'm like, I gotta go get the other giveaway, and I run to the DJ or grab the gift or whatever. So anything you can do to pattern interrupt probably would be helpful.
And you get those gifts, because I remember we talked about this, you get those donated, correct?
So I've naturally fallen into events because when I started 3 years ago, I had no money and no relationships, but I'm a photographer. So I do a lot of like mini sessions in my farm, in my neighborhood, and now for my clients, like Santa, Easter Bunny, back to school pictures, all Christmas tree farm. So do you have suggestions that kind of tag to a comment you made, Kyle, like how do I set myself as the real estate authority and not the neighborhood photographer or party planner? Like just reminding them, like, yes, I'm doing this. And I do have relationships and some budget now, so I've also considered hiring a photographer. But any other suggestions how to like make it clear that I'm the realtor throwing this and not the neighborhood HOA party planner?
So 2 things. One, whenever I do an event, I'm always a tad bit overdressed. So like, because I want you to see that there's a certain level of difference just in physical appearance, personally for me. So everybody else is probably gonna have on polo and jeans. I'm probably gonna wear a suit. Because it just gives me, that alone lets you know that I'm the professional still in this space of libations, music, etc. And so then the second thing is, I'm good for a good little 10-minute TED Talk speech. And so like, I cut the music off, I thank everyone, this is my time to thank the sponsors, this is my time to thank, I am the realtor. And my spiel makes, sometimes if I'm feeling it, I may go into a little bit about the market, not to ruin the vibe, but just enough to say like, you guys, this is what we're seeing, but it's no more than 10 minutes, and then we're back to the party going on. But like, that, just the simple thing of just dressing like the realtor in the room, even in a chilled environment, I don't care if it's the Halloween giveaway, I'm going to be the realtor in the room. That gives you a little bit of a distinguishedness, I guess that's a word, distinguishedness, so that folks don't forget why they're there. And that you're not, and then they can spot you. Because if it's 100 people in the room, you don't want to blend in, like you want to stand out.
It's a great tip. It's a great tip.
Is there a specific way that you ask for referrals during this event, or do you not ask for referrals during the event?
So at certain events, we have a little fun with referrals and for the drawings. So for example, our Pies and Pints event, we go out and buy the Costco pies, and our admin came up with a great idea of doing the Cool Whip spray. And for every person that gave a referral, we gave them a can of Cool Whip. And I thought, that's never gonna work. Who would do that? You'd be shocked. We had about 40 of them, and if you gave us a review, we give you 1. If you gave us a referral, we gave you 3 entries into the drawing. So different things like that. We have one coming up. It's a shredding event. It's the easiest thing you can do. We rent a shredding truck, and we started it during COVID because it was the simplest thing of doing a drive-by. When they come, we have a clipboard, they roll down their window, they fill out all their information, and if they want to put their name in for a drawing for a Yeti cooler, if they want to put 2, again, give us a 5-star review, and if you give us multiple, we have it lined up as to what you get for giving us more, and then it really works. It's so easy.
Thanks again for all of you being here. It really does mean a lot to us, so thank you. My question, you talked about the referrals again, and I am ADHD and forgot my question, so if I remember it, I'll come back.
Okay, fair. That happens. I love that. That's so real. She's been waiting for a long time, so let me come over here.
Okay, so I have 3 questions, but I'm going to keep it short and simple, I promise. So the first one, Kelly, you talked about your monthly giveaways. I'm from Missouri, and so we have some limitations around giveaways. How do you guys have similar limitations? Like, is there any, like you're not supposed to give things away as a realtor, or you have to make sure that it doesn't appear that you're requesting them to purchase something? Do you have that? If so, how do you get around it? Where are the giveaway items coming from?
I don't think we have that. That's a great question. So these are all past clients. So they've already transacted business with me. This is not like, hey, I'm going to give you something if you use me, because I think we do have rules against that. So this is just, hey, thank you. It's just I'm giving back every month. It's just marketing expense, marketing. And what's the other question? Yeah, I cover the gifts, and they come from lots of different places depending on what we decide we're gonna give away for that month. I mean, if I were really good about this, I would just go, like sometimes we do dinner and a movie. So, I should go to the movie theater and say, hey, I'll promote your, but I don't, that's an extra effort. So I just go, it's usually $100 or $300 a month, which isn't that much.
Okay.
A gift away instead of a giveaway.
Yeah, so I am licensed in Georgia too, and that brings me to one point, and I know there's a couple other, as long as you're not asking for that reciprocity of the deal, you're fine. I don't know why I'm talking into 2 mics, y'all. Like, this is like, one thing you get from me is you get real. Like, this is it. So I think I agree with you. And it does bring me to one more thing. They are here to give you value out of just the goodness of their heart. And if you need a referral partner, please connect with them. This is really important. Like, these are, that if you're sending them somebody, they're gonna have a great time. And they're gonna be grateful for that. So please connect with them on social media, and also think about them in your referrals. And I know, Amy, you had one follow-up, so I want to give you that.
Okay, so this question is kind of 2 parts to Charlotte and Kyle. I love this idea about packing the food. So I'm very active in my elementary school's backpack program. It never occurred to me to host an event around that where I'm buying the food and packing it. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. And then Kyle, when you had your first community service event and you didn't know how many people were going to show up, how did you go about planning and budgeting? Because you didn't know what to expect as far as the help you were going to have.
Amy, that's not one question.
I'll answer it really. I'll answer it fast for you. So, honestly, my coach is the one that my coach was Abe Shreve back in the day, and he really encouraged me to be more visible with the work we were doing. I don't do it for that reason, so it's really hard for me to get on social media and say, like, we're feeding kids. Like, it seems so obnoxious. But what Abe said to me was, if you don't tell the world you're doing it, they won't know that it's possible. And so you're actually being selfish not sharing it. So what we just started really sharing it in our newsletters and on social media. So the short answer is, if you go to the Savoy Team's Facebook page, or our charity is called Just One Kid. Both of those, you can see everything because we put everything on social media. We get people that want to come and help us. We take pictures while we're doing it. We do fundraisers. Every event that we do, we ask our clients to bring donations and we give them a list of the food that we can put in the backpacks so that it really has helped us double the amount of kids we can feed because they want to support you, so they'll bring, the goldfish and the whatever need to go in the bags. So I would say go to our Facebook and you can see everything. We're very, very transparent, so you can see everything and just steal it. It's fine. I prefer you don't copy and paste necessarily, if you're in Maryland especially, but repurpose it for how it works for you. We're totally fine with that.
There's a follow-up question for Kyle too. Kyle, how did you budget for that first event?
I used it as like a regular event. So for that one, I did do Eventbrite, and it was more just like, who wants to help? And like typically that one is like past clients. So it's not, I don't need your email or anything like that. It's just once again, the event is the phone call. My client's like, whoa, you're about to feed some folks. Like, that's the event. And so like, do you want to come help? And so then you just kind of track how many people say they're coming. But you can kill two birds with one stone. Like I've had like client appreciation events where we're all, the holiday event. The holiday event, you bring in a toy. That's your way to get in. So now you're partying with a purpose. And so now you're able to talk about the fact that you were able to give back to the community and it was still the holiday event. So like you can combine things as well. So I've done that also. I did like client appreciation is typically August time. So school supplies. And so bring school supplies to the client appreciation event. Now we're giving back to a school. And so we try to integrate some type of party with a purpose to kill two birds with one stone.
That's great. We're going to go with one more question, guys. And I know that I still see hands up, but our panelists are still here. So but we have to give up the room for somebody else. We can go outside and answer questions one-on-one, connect, take pictures, share referral sources. But I do have to give up the room. So I apologize. And that's a great problem to have, that we have so many questions. It means you guys have done a great job. So one last question.
Yes, greetings from Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you all for being here. My question is, have you found your events to have more success during a particular time of the day or a certain day of the week?
I think it depends on the event itself. So first-time homebuyer seminars, we find those to be the most successful on a Saturday morning or a Tuesday or Wednesday evening. As far as a fall festival or a Santa, either a Sunday or a Saturday, it depends on what's happening sports-wise. So I think you just need to be aware of what's happening in your community and what could be preventing people from coming and plan more around that than whether one time. You're always gonna have kids that need naps and you can't work around everybody.
Thank you guys for coming. Scan the QR code. If you have follow-up questions, you can send them to me and I will make sure that the panelists get back to you with an answer. We will all work to get you an answer. So follow-ups, thank you guys for coming. Please thank our panelists.